So I was a little bit busy earlier and I didn't have time to predict the other games that happened earlier on for the 3 o'clock kickoffs, but we do have some time to predict before the two games that are going to impact the title and where it's going this season. Of course, up until Monday, it was being considered a three-horse race between the two teams in front of us, Hearts, Celtic, and of course Rangers, who are Celtic's opponents at the weekend in the derby. But it's now considered a two-horse race after Hearts managed to dispatch Rangers 2-1. A lot of things would have to go wrong for the other two teams and a lot to go right for Rangers in order for them to win the title. And I think the odds that they were given from Opta were 1%. So I think it's pretty conclusive that it's a two-horse race now. But that doesn't make the title race any less interesting. Of course, it has been the best that it's been in years in Scottish football. And Hearts are in pole position with the Opta data giving them about a 75% chance of winning the league. But of course, there's an important game tonight to get to first before they can think about doing that just yet. And I'm going to get to those predictions right away. Starting off with tonight's fixture between Motherwell and Hearts, and the 3 o'clock kickoff results have made this pretty interesting because Hibs' victory over Falkirk 3-1 has now put Motherwell in an interesting position where they are looking probably to seal that European football spot as quickly as they possibly can away from Hibs and not leave it up to chance in the final day. They're more than likely to get European football anyway if and when Celtic win the Scottish Cup. Of course, first to fifth place will get European qualifiers in Scotland. But if there is an upset in the cup final and Dunfermline do manage to win the cup, the team that finishes in fifth place will lose out on European football as a result. So you want to kind of secure that and finish in the top four to guarantee yourself those spaces anyway. Plus there's the added element of the fact that the Motherwell manager has been heavily linked with the Celtic job, and you've got the media kind of scrambling that he's going to want to impress his potential future employers by potentially helping them to win the title. This is an absolutely huge game for Hearts, of course, in their title charge. They are currently 3 points ahead in the table. They can make it 6 points before Celtic even kick a ball tomorrow. And then that's going to put huge pressure on Celtic to get the job done against Rangers in order to stay within touching distance of Hearts. Of course, they could only be three points behind Hearts. They could be level on points, or they could be a massive 6 points behind as well, or 5 points behind going into the last two games. Drop points for Celtic if Hearts do pick up a win against Motherwell would mean that Hearts can indeed win the league on Wednesday night against Falkirk, who incidentally have almost impossible odds, like what Rangers have for winning the title in terms of managing to finish in a European spot. So that's looking like a really tasty fixture for Hearts. In terms of tonight, though, it's difficult. Hearts know they're nearly there, and their second half performance against Rangers was really impressive. They were more than deserved of their victory, but their first half performance, they deserve to be behind. So it depends on what kind of Hearts team shows up. Motherwell been really inconsistent at times as well. They were excellent in the first half against Rangers. Second half, yes, they did snatch the winner, but they were outplayed in the second half. But you could argue their first half performance deserved the win from the game anyway. I mean, for my fantasy football, I've backed a Hearts win tonight, so I'm going to go and stick with that, and I'm going to go for a late winner from Hearts, and it's going to be an entertaining game of football to watch, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 Hearts win. Now, on to tomorrow's derby between Celtic and Rangers, which would normally be, in previous seasons, a potential title decider between these two, or by the time you get to this stage, it's a dead rubber one of the two. This one is anything but a dead rubber, of course. Massive consequences for both sides heading into this, despite the fact that Rangers are out of the title race. It seems like they have the chance to kill Celtic's title chances at the same time, as well as get back to 1 point behind Celtic and put pressure on Celtic to get that last Champions League spot, because first and second, of course, will be getting that. And potentially, if whoever finishes third out of these two will also end up in the Conference League if Dunfermline end up winning the Scottish Cup. So It's a lot riding on it, not just the title, but of course Celtic do need to come away with no less than 3 points here to have any sort of chance of taking the title hopes away from Hearts. And Rangers, even if the Champions League wasn't on the line, will want to do what they can to stop Celtic from winning the title, you would imagine. In the games between these two this season, it's been really hot and cold from both sides in reality. The first game of the season was one of the worst derbies between the two we've ever seen, that 0-0 when Russell Martin was in charge, the only derby that Russell Martin was in charge of. Then we got the cup fixture, the League Cup semi-final between the two. It was a pretty entertaining game, which Celtic came away 3-1 winners in extra time, where Celtic probably, story of their season, should have been further ahead in the first half. Rangers managed to get back in it, even with 10 men, thanks to the penalty from Tavernier, but then Celtic, of course, killed it off in extra time under Martin O'Neill. Then the next fixture between the two, Wilfred Nancy in charge with Danny Rowe in the other dugout. Celtic, in the first half, blew Rangers away, but were only good for their victory by 1-0. I say victory, good for their lead by 1-0. And then Rangers came out in the second half and took the 3 chances that they got. And Celtic were terrible defensively in the second half, and obviously Rangers ended up winning that game. And then, of course, we have the mental game where Rangers went 2-0 up in the first half, totally in control at Ibrox. And in the second half, it was the exact opposite. Celtic totally in control and could have actually won the game after coming back from 2-0 down. And then, of course, finally, we have the most recent game between them at Ibrox in the Scottish Cup, which was 0-0 and went to penalties. 2 disallowed goals in the game for each team as well. Dyson Maida got a goal disallowed for offside, and Fernandez got a goal disallowed for handball. Celtic, of course, were extremely depleted on that day, and Rangers fans were not happy at all with that result. But this is arguably the biggest of all of the games that have taken place this season, and as much as Martin O'Neill is unbeaten in these games this season, he has technically drawn 2 of them, drawn all 3 of them that he's taken part in, even though he's managed to win 2 in extra time and penalties. If it ends the 90 minutes equal this time, it will just be shared points. Danny Rowe has failed to beat Martin O'Neill in 3 attempts. Of course, he beat Wilfred Nancy, so he is also under pressure from the Rangers fans now after the disappointing 2 games in the split, losing to Motherwell and losing to Hearts. Celtic, of course, their split has gone a bit better than that so far, with wins over Falkirk and Hibs, narrowly, mind you, but wins over Falkirk and Hibs nonetheless. I'm going to go for Celtic wanting it slightly more, though, and we know that this Rangers team from kind of, what's the word? There's players in there that don't really handle the pressure well of when it's not going well on the pitch. So I'm going to go for another narrow Celtic win in this case. I'm going to go for a 2-1 as well, same from the previous game. But that's going to do the predictions for the Scottish Premiership games to go tonight and tomorrow. Of course, massive games in the title challenge, and then we'll see where we are at full time in both games as well. We'll do a reaction to both games tonight and tomorrow, and then that'll be a massive midweek coming up as well. Thank you very much for watching. If you aren't around here, please consider checking out some of the other content on the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.